A police car speeds through dark, empty streets at 70 kilometers an hour. Outside a nearby house, a mob of over 200 people is hurling stones and tearing down the walls. It is March 2007. The Indian national cricket team has just been eliminated from the World Cup in the first round, and the frustration across the country has turned into a riot. MS Dhoni sits in the back of that fleeing car. While his family is trapped behind paramilitary lines because of a game he played, he isn't lashing out or breaking down. Most people would walk away from a country that turns on them this quickly. Dhoni did the opposite. He looked at the wreckage of his house and the anger of the crowd and decided to use that pressure as a training ground. He spent years as a railway ticket collector in Kharagpur before he ever led a national team. He was already used to the daily grind of crowded platforms and public complaints, and he brought that same blue-collar resilience to the stadium. The way he handled that night in 2007 became his blueprint. By refusing to let the noise outside dictate his internal state, he began developing a specific set of habits that would allow him to make logical decisions when everyone else was reacting with emotion. In 2013, the team was stuck at an airport on their way to England. A match-fixing scandal had just broken, and the terminal was swarming with media looking for someone to blame. The tension among the players was suffocating. While his teammates were pacing and checking their phones, Dhoni lay down on the floor, used his kit bag as a pillow, and fell asleep. He realized he couldn't fix the flight schedule or the news cycle, so he chose to preserve his energy for the things he actually controlled. This is a mental practice of compartmentalization. When a problem arises that you cannot influence in the moment, you lock it in a specific mental box. If you let that stress drift into every other part of your day, you lose the ability to perform your actual job. You can see the result of this in the 2011 World Cup final. India was 3 wickets down, and the pressure was rising. Yuvraj Singh, who was in the best form of his life, was expected to come out to bat next. Instead, Dhoni walked out. He hadn't scored well the entire tournament. If he failed now, he would be blamed for the loss, and his career would likely never recover from the public scrutiny. He ignored the risk to his reputation and focused on the ball. He knew he could read the spin of the opposing bowler better than Yuvraj could at that moment. He made the decision based on a tactical advantage, not on the fear of what people would say if he missed. Focusing on the final result creates a paralyzing fear of failure. But when you look strictly at the mechanics of the task in front of you, the specific pitch or the next logical step, and the pressure has nowhere to stick. That internal stillness can be used to control the room. In 2008, India was about to beat a highly aggressive Australian team in Melbourne. The Australians were famous for using verbal intimidation and theatrics to shake their opponent's confidence. Just before the victory, Dhoni sent a message to his team. When we win, no one is to celebrate. No loud cheering, no wild jumping, and no emotion. When the winning run was scored, the Indian team simply walked over and shook hands, as if they were ending a practice session. That total lack of reaction made the Australian players feel like their best efforts hadn't even registered. Silence was a more effective response than any insult could have been. This approach also applies to taking ownership of failure. When Hardik Pandya faced public suspension and national criticism, he felt his career was effectively over. Dhoni offered him a place to stay and a simple directive: accept the reality of the situation immediately. Don't fight the consequences or hide from the mistake. Once you stop wasting energy resisting the truth, your brain can finally start looking for a way out. This appeared in the 2007 T20 World Cup final. Dhoni gave the ball to an inexperienced bowler for the final over. He told him that if they lost, he would personally take the blame in the press. By absorbing the threat of failure himself, he freed the bowler to focus entirely on the pitch. When a leader carries the burden of a potential loss and refuses to make a spectacle of a win, they remove ego from the process. This keeps the team secure and leaves the opposition with nothing to fight against. This discipline was built on the platforms of the Kharagpur railway station. For years, Dhoni balanced an 8-hour job checking tickets with the physical demands of professional cricket. He spent his days dealing with frustrated travelers and his nights practicing under floodlights. He was callousing his mind, rep by rep, ensuring that no level of physical fatigue or public disrespect could distract him from his goal. Growth rarely happens in comfortable environments. It happens when you are forced to perform despite the circumstances being inconvenient or unfair. Most people spend their energy complaining about a lack of resources or support. Every minute spent dwelling on those frustrations is a minute taken away from the actual work required to change them. In a culture that values loud reactions and constant outrage, the ability to remain still is a massive practical advantage. It allows you to see the situation clearly while everyone else is distracted by the noise. Stop waiting for a miracle to clear your path. Silence the outside noise, accept your current reality, and focus everything you have on the very next step.